It's a great pleasure for me to be here today because, like you at Sefaira, we're all about smart green cities. And what do we do? What do we do at Sefaira? For those who don't know us already, we make software for high-performance building design, which essentially means that we work with architects. We provide software that help them design great buildings, and that's essentially by allowing them to analyze their designs and therefore make the very best design decisions throughout their design process. Now, since we launched our software commercially last year, we've now gotten more than 200 firms worldwide adopting our software, and they're using it to transform the way they design buildings and create high-performing buildings for their customers. And why do they do that? Well, it's really because high-performance building design has a wealth of benefits. One of the well-known ones is it's great in terms of energy efficiency. We talked earlier today about how it delivers much better energy performance than traditional design techniques, but there are many others. One of them is the ability to deliver buildings at a lower capital cost. If you have the example of a building that's more heating efficient or more cooling efficient, well, that means you can install smaller cooling and heating systems and thereby save capital cost. And so really you have a wealth of benefits if you take a high-performance building design approach. Now, it's great to be here during these days because we're seeing a phenomenal amount of great technologies that can help us design excellent buildings with very high performance. And the question that then arises is, how do we put all of these technologies together to make sure we get to the very best product, to the very best building design? And one of the complexities here is that when we have a lot of smart technologies, the question is really how to put them together so that they deliver the performance we need. And to figure out how to do that, we need to know how they all interact. Because a building is like a system where the performance of the glazing impacts the performance of the heating and the cooling, which is impacted by the lighting system, and so on and so forth. And as we're trying to design a high-performing building, we really need to understand this in quite some detail. And to get to the answer of how all of this interacts, we really have to analyze. And so through analysis, through rigorous building physics, a physics-based analysis, we can get through to answers of how everything interacts and how everything interoperates. Now, thinking about building design and the building design process, it can be a somewhat complex process. It can take months or even years before you get to a building design. And throughout that process, thousands of decisions are made, all impacting the performance of the final product, of the final building. Historically, the issue has been that analysis of building designs, it was very complex and it was very costly, and therefore it would occur very late in the process, if at all. So by the time you finally analyzed your building design, you might find out that it wouldn't perform as expected, and therefore you'd have to do costly rework, or you might have to install expensive technologies in a suboptimal way. And so the solution to this problem is to enable frequent analysis, is to enable early analysis, so that you analyze throughout the design process every step of the way, and so that you can make the very best design decisions for every step you take in your process. And so it was based on this insight that Sefaira created really what is today the industry's only software for immersive and seamless embedding that seamless analysis into the design process we've talked about. And so what does that look like? Well, let's look at a very quick demonstration here.
Sefaira allows architects to focus on performance from the very beginning of the design process, changing how architects work with the first and only software for real-time, high-performance building design. Rather than validating a design after it has been completed, with Sefaira you can use real-time feedback to shape your design. Sefaira enables you to study form and facade design with feedback directly in your design environment, quickly compare design options, find the strategies that will have the biggest impact, and optimize key design parameters such as shading, glazing ratios, and orientation. With Sefaira, you can win more business, reduce design costs, and achieve breakthrough performance. Sefaira, sustainability, performance, design.
So that was a very brief look. We're outside if you're curious and want to see more. Just before I round off, a little bit more about the business. We were founded in 2009 with a mission to create the leading software for high-performance building design. And today we've grown to a team of 40 based in London and New York. And we're backed by 3 great investors. We met one already today. Renee was here from Chrysalix. And also Braemar and Hermes are invested in the company. So just closing out here, we're all here because we know that sustainability is important and because we believe that smart green cities is a great way to create a sustainable economy. As we've learned here, we have a lot of the technologies we need to create very high-performing buildings, but the question is how we put them all together in the right way. We know that design and the design process is the way to do that, but we know that it can be complex to get it right. Well, the good news is that Sefaira is already deployed with more than 200 firms, and we're helping them do that today with our software, but this is only the beginning. We're looking forward to working with many more companies in the future as we collaborate to build lots of smart green cities. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure sharing our story with you. Thanks for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a question for this gentleman? Please raise a hand.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm from GLN, and we are also building not software, or we do use software in our products, but we are making renewable energy solutions for buildings. And what always strikes us is in Europe, there's lots of different legal rules for building buildings. How is that incorporated into your software? Can you see a big difference, for instance, if you build a sustainable building in Germany or in London?
That's a very good question. We often talk about sort of a unified European market for things, don't we? And actually, what we find is when we sort of look and talk to different customers across Europe is that the rules are incredibly different, not only at the national level, but also at the subnational level, where you have in the UK, you have different building regulations in England and in Scotland, to take an example. So I don't think there is sort of a silver bullet that helps us break through all of those issues. What we can say and what we have seen is that the earlier you start analysis as part of your design process, the better your design get to at the stage where you typically go through a regulatory approval, and therefore you might have more room to maneuver. Let's say that there's a requirement around having, let's say, 10 or 15% energy delivered via renewables. Well, if you have a lower overall energy footprint, you require, let's say, less investment in renewable technologies to hit that 10 or 15% threshold, and therefore you can save capital costs. But no, I don't think, beyond that, I don't think there is sort of one silver bullet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mats, thank you very much, and you get your speaker gift.
Terrific, thank you.
A nice book about the crystal.
Always a pleasure, thanks.